And I'm Celine.
And welcome to another episode of the
We Are Podcast. This is yet another news update. And before we begin, I just want to explain my finger, okay? Because I move my hands around when I speak, so you're probably going to see that my middle finger is blue, which is interesting.
It's green.
No, that's blue. Are you colorblind?
Oh, maybe
that's
blue.
But I was doing tie-dye the other day, and let's just say I had slight mishaps, so that's why. Just wanted to clarify.
I wonder why it's only on one finger, though.
Oh, that's so weird. Like, I wore gloves part of the time, but who the heck knows?
Who knows?
My fingers are weird. Okay.
We have a very fun episode planned for you today.
So we have a lot about COVID, the Olympics, wildfires. There's so many natural disasters lately.
I
and
know.
then we
It's
also
kinda
have
sad.
stuff about evictions, infrastructure, black realtors, Chicago people, the Taliban, guns in
Governor
Mexico.
Cuomo, Riri.
Oh, and Riri?
Riri. What's Riri? Rhianna.
Oh, no one knows what Riri is. Okay, Rhianna.
I call it everyone.
Beautiful, like diamonds in the sky, shine brightly. Okay, well,
Anyway.
let's get started.
Alright, so our first topic we're going to talk about, so fall is coming up, which
Right.
means school is starting.
Yeah, so we just wanted to talk about
You
like
look so tall.
sucker. No, I have a really long torso, that's why.
No, and also I feel like I lean back and you're sitting
Yeah, I have
forward.
such good
I
posture.
should stand.
This is the one time in my entire life that I have good posture.
Anyway.
Alright, so with school coming up, it's exciting, but I think a lot of kids are nervous because last year was online for a large portion, for some people the entire year.
Yeah.
So it's like we're going back to normal, so what does that mean for you? What does that mean for your school? And like, how is that gonna go, you know?
Yeah. So for us, I know, we had our like orientation, like our check-in day.
Check-in, which is where you get textbooks
Yeah.
and computers, and you get your picture taken. It's basically like preparation before the first day.
Yeah,
So-
so how did that go?
Okay,
we were in the we were literally there together.
Yeah, we went there at the same time.
Yeah.
I had to go at 8 in the morning. But
I had driving school.
yeah, so we had to go at 8, which was so fun.
That was great.
so fun. Love waking up early. But I
No,
really,
it was good though, because the line was
Yeah.
so big after.
I mean, the line was still pretty long, but
I know.
I really liked it because I think it was getting a taste of what the school year was going to be like. It was kind of like
It kind of got me
looking-
excited. in a
Yeah,
sense.
and I think it's kind of like seeing what the school looks like so you can prepare yourself and like introducing you to like what it's going to be like, and I think it gives you a feel of the atmosphere. You know?
Yeah, definitely. And we got our IDs.
Yeah, and this is the one year where I'm
ID
actually,
photo?
where is it?
Did you
bring it?
Where's your phone? Right here. We need to show our ID photo.
Okay.
I'll just
But-
bleep out the school.
Yeah, so my,
What's your password? Oh, I know your password.
yeah, you know it. Okay, so my
I
idea
don't.
was actually, okay, so I was actually happy with my ID, because this is like the first year that I've been happy with it.
She looked good.
And so did you. Yours was
I had one hair that was like sticking.
And I've been excited over those photos because I don't know where.
There it is.
Here's mine.
Yes.
You can't even see it.
Yeah, see.
Okay,
Yeah, and for me, check-in day was like really.
that's fine.
It was fun. I liked my.
Yeah, she had a good
a
outfit.
shirt.
I think
and
it's just a fun experience because you get to like dress up and do, you know, like.
This was my. Oh my god, the blind
Hers is
lighting.
really big.
This lighting's awful. But anyway,
Yeah.
we're excited, and we
So-
got our textbooks and stuff.
Yeah. So wasn't there some? Wait, let me.
What are
think.
you looking
else
forward
happened?
to, like on your schedule?
Okay, I'm really looking forward to business law. So there's this class I'm taking called business law,
That's
and it's
cool.
kind of like a business class, I guess. But it's really interesting because business is something that I don't know that much about, but I'm interested in. So it's like maybe I'll be really interested in the business area of like career-wise, or you know, it's just gonna see if I'm interested in it. So I'm excited about that.
And I
What about
straightened my
you?
hair, and it's still straight from now.
Yes, her hair holds curls and straight and normal.
I feel like everyone hair's holds straightener, but
Mine.
curls don't.
Mine, her curls for some reason it holds for like a week, and then my curls.
Actually, I never really curled my hair, so I don't even know.
No, I'm saying when you curl my hair.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
When I curled her hair, it lasted a week, and when she curled her hair with the same curler,
It lasts like an hour.
I
So-
just imagine.
thin hair problem.
But I'm sure a lot of people are like definitely nervous about going back.
Yeah. And what do you do, like, when you're nervous about something? What is your go-to, like, thing to relax yourself, or like kind of like reassure yourself? Do you have that go-to thing?
No, I just stress myself out.
That's wonderful. Okay, my
I like planning. Planning helps me so much.
Interesting.
I
Plan
everything.
Planning stresses me.
I have 40 million backup highlighters, 40
She
million
does.
backup pens. I have my whole entire like aura just.
She has
What?
so many highlighters. It's concerning. Like,
I have my
hoarding.
outfit plan. I was freaking out. I was like,
I think for some people, knowing what's gonna happen and having that plan is helpful.
That's
but
me.
For me, it's just kind of relaxing, like taking a bath and like reading. I don't know. For some,
No, I don't
like,
relax unless I plan out everything.
No, for me, meditation. I know a lot of people think meditation is dumb, but trust me, try it. It can really be helpful. I just like to relax myself, honestly.
Yeah. Anyway,
Alright.
but along with the new school year starting, there's some new regulations regarding
Yes,
COVID-19.
Right.
In
So-
case you didn't know, the pandemic sweeping our world by surprise.
Yes. So at our high school, we're going into high school. I don't think we have to wear masks, right?
We
It's not
don't.
required. So
It's not required. Which,
And it's
how
not
do you feel about that?
here's the thing. I mean, I think a lot of people will be happy about that, but at the same time, I think if no one's wearing a mask and some people are unvaccinated, and with the Delta variant happening, I feel like we're just gonna go online at some point. It's gonna be
Yeah.
like last year recreated almost. And I feel like, but at the same time, like, what do you do about lunch? How can you wear a mask during lunch? How is that even possible?
Yeah.
So it's like, I understand why people will be happy about not wearing masks, but at the same time, it's still concerning because it's like with so many unvaccinated people, especially in our age group, I think it could be dangerous.
Yeah. And there was actually a statistic that I have here is that in the Delta variant is super contagious. There's new variants like the Lambda variant, like so many, but only around 30 to 40% of middle and high schoolers are vaccinated, which is a very, very low amount.
Minimal amount.
And they can even pass it on to the vaccinated people. I mean, it's really rare because vaccinated people have so much higher protection, but it's
Right.
possible.
Yeah, and obviously the vaccine protects you so much more than it would if you didn't have it. So,
Yeah, and I think so many people are concerned to the point where we have seen more dropouts this year than in like decades.
I think is there an online option at our school? Do you know?
There's an online option for the district. Like you can go
Oh,
to a
okay.
district online school,
And
and
I-
that's what so many kids are doing. There's actually
Right.
a statistic here that says enrollment has dropped 3%, and that's around 3% is like that's nothing, but it's 1.5 million kids.
That's so many kids. That's such a large number of kids.
And a lot of people think it's due to the Delta, but also it's partially due to the fact that like some people like they got a taste of online school and they just like it better,
Yeah,
and they just think it's easier.
I think it's more online school is more you work at your own pace, you have your own routine, and I also think a lot of people's parents are probably worried. And plus the age group of like elementary school and stuff, like if you're under 12, you can't get vaccinated. Like there's not a vaccine out for you. So I think a lot of parents are probably concerned if their kids are unvaccinated and they don't want them to attend school.
And
if
I
there are
know
no regulations.
if so many classes or like districts aren't requiring masks, like that's.
I think it could cause problems, honestly. Like, I think we could see a huge rise, or, like, we could go back to online. It could turn into last year. So, I guess, we'll see how it goes. I'm excited to go back to normal, because it's just, we haven't been normal for so long, but at the same time, I'm a little hesitant to see.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
and if you feel like you want to wear a mask, go for it. If you feel if you feel safer with it, because I know a lot of people just feel safer even if they're vaccinated with a mask. Then definitely don't be worried about what other people think, even if you're the only one wearing it.
Better safe than sorry.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, the only thing I would say about that is if it's not like an N95 mask, it probably won't work because masks are meant to like keep your sort of, if you have the virus theoretically, to keep it in. And so if everyone's keeping it in, then no one's passing it on to each other. But if, let's say one person who doesn't have it doesn't wear a mask and then everyone else does, they're still making other people breathe it in. So it really just depends on your comfort level. But
Yeah.
as the school season is coming, if you're planning on going to school and you're still worried, something you can do to be safe is wear a mask in 3 feet distance. N95s are really good. I know they're super uncomfortable, but if you're unvaccinated, definitely check those out.
Wash your hands.
Wash your freaking hands.
And, like, I'm gonna emphasize this because I'm someone who washes their hands a lot. Like, wash your hands.
Wash your hands.
Um,
And also, if you feel like transmissions are getting higher, like so many people are getting it, talk to a person in authority and tell them that you're uncomfortable and you think they should change.
Yeah. And let me think. If you have symptoms, obviously, if you're sick, stay home 100%. Or if you're around someone who is sick recently, stay home.
I know. I know it's hard to do that, like, because you want to go, but no.
But it's for the safety of yourself and other people.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, let us know if you have any thoughts about it, any concerns, or you're excited, or like what you think should happen. Just let us know any thoughts you have about this. So, yeah. Is that everything for that topic?
I think so.
Alright. So now, the Olympics. Olympics. So the Olympics, when did they end? Did they?
They end today.
Today.
The ending ceremony is today, on the day we're filming this. We're filming this on August 8th, by the way.
It's a Sunday.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so the day that this is posted, it will be 1 day since it ended.
Alright.
So let's talk about some highlights of the Olympics.
Alright.
So first things up, medal count. So it's been a really close race between China and the U.S. for like gold medals.
Yeah, I've heard that.
And as of the 8th, like right now, the gold medal count is 39 to 38 U.S. So we're
U.S.
running
is ahead by 1 medal. And both of the countries obviously did such a great job.
Yeah,
You know?
I mean, I think China definitely had more of like a lot of racket sports.
I saw like some gymnastics event where I think China did really well. But yeah, I mean it was fun. Like I didn't watch that much of it, to be honest. But I think it's something where people have a lot of spirit. Like people get really excited.
And the overall medal count is U.S. won by far by 113 to 88. China in second place.
Wow.
But, yeah. So that's the medal count. I'm pretty sure the U.S. is gonna win. I mean, when do we lose?
I'm joking.
Not trying to dish China or anything, but
Okay, I'm proud of the U.S.
I'm proud of the U.S.
We
too.
did well.
I mean, we got off to a slow start, I think.
I think some people were thinking that like China might win, actually.
Yeah, I mean,
A lot of people
not
did.
even. I don't think they would win the total count, but the gold medal was definitely like up for grabs.
Yeah.
But U.S. like is really good at track too, so I think that kind of saved us.
Oh,
Because if you look
yeah.
at like a couple of days ago, we were losing.
Yeah, and actually, on the topic of track, Alex Felix is officially the most decorated female runner in Olympic history.
Yes, Alex
That's
Felix. She
pretty
won
cool.
gold in a relay
Ooh.
recently.
I'm watching relays. I didn't watch that much of them again, but it's so fun because people are like running so quickly, and it takes
majestic.
a lot of talent to run that quickly.
Yeah. And then as far as team events, the U.S. wins men's basketball gold, which boosted our gold medals by a lot.
Yeah.
And women's soccer was something that a lot of people were watching because the U.S. is known for like having one of the best teams in the world for women's soccer.
Yeah.
But Canada actually beat the U.S. in the semifinals and went on to win the gold. So that's pretty cool for Canada.
Wow.
I'm kind of
Good for
sad.
Canada.
I was watching the game.
But you know, we can't steal all the fire from what's the word? The
Thunder.
thunder from
other countries. Yeah.
And we also talked a lot about Simone Biles, right? We talked about
we
her
did.
mental health, how she gave up a lot of finals, but she actually came in to compete in the beam final, and she won bronze. Which I'm
pretty
glad.
sure I actually saw that event.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad about that. And a lot of people were like wondering why she had so many mental health issues, and it was actually revealed that her aunt passed away during the Olympics or right before. I'm not
That's
sure.
really sad.
So-
But I mean, she's very courageous for still going through with it, and she did really well.
Yeah,
So
she did.
that's pretty cool. I mean,
Right.
I think this is a chance for everyone to kind of be proud of their country, even if you didn't win first, even if you didn't get the most gold counts. There was so much effort put into this and so much spirit.
It's like international unity.
Yeah, exactly. I think it brings us together. All right. Is that
Next
it?
topic.
What is the next topic?
The U.S. is planning to require vaccinations for foreign travelers, and a little bit about Biden getting confrontational.
Oh yes. All right. I just need to find this news update.
Okay.
So
I'll talk in the meantime.
Yes.
So the Biden administration, because of the Delta variant, they're planning to require almost all foreign travelers coming to the U.S. to be fully vaccinated.
Yeah. So this is kind of their way of like reopening travel, because before there were a lot of restrictive measures for foreign travelers, but now since it's just like a vaccination requirement, a lot more people can come to the U.S. and travel there.
Yes.
The White House really wants to resume travel, but it still wants it to be safe. They want to resume travel in a safe way, basically. So, I think it's a big step, and I think it's important that they keep it safe, like requiring vaccinations, but it's still reopening a little bit, and Alright, and then, so, throughout the pandemic, I think Biden has shared his opinion about stuff, but he's also been sort of diplomatic.
Definitely. I think he really wants to be like bipartisan.
Yeah.
So
And
that's a
he
big
never really called anyone out if he disagreed with them. He kind of just, like, if someone did something he didn't like, he would just kind of just sit back. He wouldn't necessarily call them out. But now he basically, he got very confrontational with GOP governors over the COVID spike, and let's see, he said, quote, "I say to these governors, please help, but if you aren't going to help, at least get out of the way." So he's like,
snap.
so he specifically targeted two governors, the governor of Florida and the governor of Texas. Ron DeSantis is the governor of Florida, and Greg Abbott is the governor of or wait, did I mix that up?
You might have.
Oh no, I didn't. Okay. Greg Abbott is the governor of Texas.
Yeah.
So he's basically like, get out of the way, because these two governors, they're in their states, they're facing such like rising levels of COVID, but he's basically like, these decisions are against public health, like they're bad. He basically called them out, and he said, "I believe the results of their decisions are not good for their constituents, and it's clear to me and to most of the medical experts that the decisions being made, like not allowing mask mandates in school and the like, are very bad health policy."
I've heard about the Florida governor. I mean, it's not Republican Democrat, it's science. I actually at my driving school recently, I met someone who was like very, 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 very far right, very Republican, very conservative. And she was like, "My mom is very conservative, I'm very conservative, but I believe in wearing masks because it's science. It helps protect."
Yeah, it's not political.
It's not.
It should
not.
be. Yeah. And Ron DeSantis, who again is the governor of Florida, he really doesn't want people to like require vaccinations or anything. He doesn't want mask mandates. He's really against that stuff. He's basically saying, if you're trying to restrict people and impose mandates and ruin their jobs and livelihood, if you're trying to lock people down, I'm standing in your way. He actually said that quote. And I'm standing for the people of Florida. He said this was basically his response. He's like, he has even threatened to defund schools that mandate masks. So Biden was basically just done with that. He's like, get out of the way if you're not going to help. But DeSantis is very, like, he has a strong opinion on this, and he's not going to change it.
Alright.
Like, so...
We'll see how that goes. We'll probably do another update. And also, we did an episode recently on Republicans and Democrats, so if you want to check that out.
Definitely check that out.
Yep.
Alright. So, Cuomo.
So, recently there has been... Okay, so Andrew Cuomo is the governor of New York. He's like the head dude. He's the head of state. And he had several sexual harassment allegations.
I think we talked about this in one of the past episodes.
Yes, we did.
A lot of people said he made them feel uncomfortable.
Yeah. And that includes touching, like kissing, patting.
Or just saying stuff that was
like
inappropriate.
weird remarks. And so after these allegations, New York's Attorney General, Letitia James, was assigned to investigate. And at the end of this investigation, I think it was released on Tuesday, she found that he has been accused, or he did harass many women, including state employees, current and former, as well as people out of the government.
That's awful.
She said that the investigation found Cuomo guilty of unwanted sexual touching, unconsensual touching, in a hostile environment for the woman. They spoke to during the investigation. They spoke to 179 individuals and reviewed 74,000 pieces of evidence.
That's a lot.
It is a lot.
There are a lot of claims against him.
And it painted a quote disturbing yet clear picture. And these included like emails. So like in one circumstance.
Oh, really?
Yes. In one circumstance, there was a lady, and she said Governor Cuomo slapped her on the butt. Very inappropriate.
Yeah, that is.
And there was an email the day after she sent to one of her friends that, oh my God, Governor Cuomo slapped me on the butt, which kind of warranted that. And then there was also another person that I think was all over the news. His assistant, he kissed him on the cheek after getting a little bit tipsy at a wedding, and there was photo evidence of that. Many of the victims were working with Cuomo very closely.
Yeah, I think a lot of them were really close, like his assistants and stuff.
Yes,
so.
I think several of his assistants actually. And it was unlawful. And as of right now, we don't know if he's going to be like prosecuted by court.
So many people hate him, like for good reason. Like I've been seeing stuff about like there's like no one likes him, like not a single human being in the state of New York.
All the Democrats are turning against him. People that were on his side. Biden
is he a Democrat?
Yes, he's a very strong Democrat. Biden, the President of the United States, Nancy Pelosi, Speaker of House, Leader of the Congress, House of Representatives, they both called for his resignation, saying that he should resign. But despite this evidence, Cuomo denied everything.
Yeah.
He said, I never touched anyone inappropriately or made inappropriate sexual advances, and
he won't. Yeah,
I do kiss people, but this is just culture, that's what I do.
Yeah, he won't own up to his mistakes, really.
Yeah.
I think he's trying to make excuses at this point.
I think he should resign at this point.
I think he should. Because there's so many people that hate him, and it's just,
He's not going to get voted in next election.
He's not. So,
but
at this point, dude, you're hated. Alright, so next news update is about the California Dixie wildfire.
Yes.
So this is gigantic, all over the news. It is now the largest wildfire in the U.S. at the moment, and the third largest in the history of California. And this is as of Sunday, by the way.
Yeah.
When we were filming. So the fire exploded over 97,000 acres in only 24 hours. So like,
that's crazy.
In just a day, it got so much worse, and it was previously the 6th worst in California, but in just 24 hours, it became the 3rd worst.
That's
in the entire state history. It's so destructive. The fire burned 432,813 acres of land, and it has burned an area of land larger than the city of Los Angeles.
Los Angeles is huge.
I know.
It's a big city.
And this is again as of Sunday, only 35% of the fire is actually contained, which is not. I mean, it's
better
some
than
of it.
nothing.
It's better than nothing, but it's still like threatening so many people. It threatens over 13,800 people.
Yeah.
So before this, the bootleg fire in Oregon was the largest in the country, but now the Dixie fire just swept in and it just took over that, and it's like huge and gigantic. And one of the most concerning things about the fire is that it started earlier than most large fires in the wildfire season in California.
Okay.
It started on July 13th, which is 2 weeks before wildfire season usually happens. So it's like fires are coming sooner than they are, and bigger and more destructive, and it's like, it's just... And Tim Jones, a public information officer, said, quote, "We are approaching historical levels of fires that have not been seen in this explosive rate of growth in over 100 years."
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. And one of the towns in California, which is super historic, it's called Greenville. Like, streets are reduced to rubble, and homes and businesses have been damaged and charred to the point where they can't even be recognized.
I can imagine how devastating that is for the residents.
It is so devastating.
That's so
totally
sad.
Yeah, and the firefighters are working so hard. They've had to save so many people, and over 100 homes have been destroyed. And in Chester, which is a town in California, 2,000 residents have been evacuated.
Do you know if anyone died?
I'm not sure. They weren't really open about I think definitely people have had to evacuate and buildings have been destroyed, but I think for the most part, people are threatened, but there are ways to escape it.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's
And-
good that they.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
firefighters.
It is just heat waves and high winds have contributed to this. And actually, the cause of this, well, they're still investigating the cause, but so they're not entirely sure. But they think that it could be the Pacific Gas and Electric Company because it said that a tree landed on one of its power lines, which could potentially have started the fire.
Oh, that's crazy.
Which would suck.
It's crazy how things
Mhm.
like gender reveals and like landlines start these massive devastating things.
And it's so much harder to stop this fire and contain it with climate change because it has left California so much warmer and drier, so it spreads so much quicker. It's so much easier to contain. The temperatures are drier and more severe. So,
Yeah.
whew, I
Alright.
feel really bad for California right now.
Me too.
And we have a lot of smoke too. There's so much smoke
Oh,
throughout the
yeah.
whole state or the country. I mean.
entire country.
Yeah.
I mean, they're just blowing, like the East Coast is on fire. Arizona, Oregon, California, they are blowing all their fires all the way across the U.S. no matter what
It's
city you live
crazy.
in. It's crazy.
So, stay safe. Evacuate if you need
If
to.
you have asthma, stay inside.
Yes. Or even
In
if there's
general.
strong smoke,
Just
it's
in
just
general.
not good to breathe in that air.
Actually,
so.
recently Denver, a major city in Colorado,
Right.
they had the worst air quality in the entire
And the
world.
thing that's so weird about it is that there are no current wildfires in Denver right now,
Yeah,
right?
like LA, which with the wildfire has better air quality than Denver.
It's just the smoke drifting over. I guess
Yeah,
it's
the
more.
wind.
What's the word?
It just blows over.
Yeah, I guess that's really weird.
Yeah, and
Okay.
Colorado is known for having like very clear air, as well as like
Mhm.
New Mexico. Wait, does New Mexico? I don't know.
I
Colorado,
don't
like
remember. I think the middle states have good air, so
Mhm.
it's just weird.
Yeah, it's just really concentrated in other states, even where the fire isn't. So,
Yeah.
alright, so
Last news update. I'm gonna kind of speed
Mhm.
through this for running out of time.
Rihanna.
But Rhianna officially becomes a billionaire. So Robin Rihanna Fenty is officially a billionaire according to Forbes.
Her net worth is around 1.7 billion, making her
Dang.
the richest female singer and the second
Mhm.
richest.
Female entertainer. And this is due to not only like her top Billboard
Mhm.
songs, like she's a pop star, she's a
Yeah,
singer,
like,
but also
Mhm.
she started a makeup line that
Oh,
was so
really?
famous, and it is it's called Fenty Beauty, and it is
Mhm.
estimated to be around 2.8 billion.
oh my goodness.
Yes, and people are saying that the key to her success is breaking Eurocentric beauty standards, which are like basically like white people beauty standards,
Yeah.
because Euro, like European.
Mm-hmm.
And she said they're unrealistic, so she models to everyone of all shapes, sizes, because she also has
Diversity,
like a clothes
yeah.
brand,
Mhm.
or like an undergarment brand. So
That's
she
pretty
models
cool.
all sizes, shapes, colors. She has so many different shades of foundation.
And she responded to this by saying, "God is good." A little smile. Many
Yes.
friends have congratulated her.
Like Nicki Minaj and other pop stars. And,
Yeah.
it's such a big monumental accomplishment. Also because she's female and black.
Yes.
So it's a big deal.
yeah,
It's a big hurdle that I'm sure she's faced a lot of backlash and a lot of hate and a lot of hardships. So I think it's really good for her.
All right.
That is the first half, which was really long.
It was long, but
Oops.
second half hopefully will be shorter.
Yes, we'll try to
Um,
make it shorter.
Stay tuned.
Um,
It's interesting.
Yeah, alright. See you in the next half.
Bye. Welcome back.
Hana is inching her way
break.
toward the microphones.
Yes.
Yes, welcome back. This half we're gonna try to shorten it a little bit, so if we're talking fast, I apologize for that.
We don't want to bore you for an hour.
Yeah,
Only
so
40 minutes.
let's hope this will be 20 minutes, although it probably won't. Anyways, alright, are you ready to start?
I am ready. Alright. So our first topic for the second half is about the Taliban, and they take over the second Afghan city in 2 days. And actually, after I was done writing like this section, because me and Celine like switch off sections, we each do 6
We each do 6, so we're experts on 6 of them, and then we're amateurs.
on 6. Well, we're not amateurs. We
Oh,
just we like brief each other on ours, and then
Mhm.
we just like kind of lead one and
Yeah, so I don't know as much about this one, but she knows a lot about it.
yeah, and same thing. So as I was writing this section, another news came out that I saw this morning while I was like checking.
Right.
The Taliban actually seized Kunduz, the first major Afghan city to fall after the U.S. troops left. So that's a big news. I mean, it kind of goes along with what we're talking about. But this is about the provincial capital, Sheberghan. Sorry if I pronounced everything wrong. It's in the Zhejiang province, and it collapsed less than 24 hours after another provincial capital collapsed. So, basically, in case you didn't know, the U.S. is withdrawing troops from the Middle East, including Afghanistan. They were placed there right after the 9/11 because the 9/11 was a terrorist attack on the U.S. from the Al-Qaeda. And Al-Qaeda is kind of part of the Taliban.
They're a terrorist group.
And so basically what happened is that, but let's start by giving you some background. So, the Taliban are a kind of terrorist group. They started out as more of like a religious movement per se. And they emerged in the early 1990s in the Pakistan following the withdrawal from like Russian troops from Afghanistan. And it started in religious seminaries, and these people, they strongly believe in like Islam, like they're very Islamic, and they kind of interpret it in a way that it wasn't meant to be. Which is why so many Muslim people get trashed, because they just generalize everyone as being like Taliban, which is so wrong.
And I think they tainted the view of the religion in general.
Yes, definitely.
For a lot of people.
And so basically from southwestern Afghanistan, they extended their influence. In 1995, they captured the province of Herat, which was like a major place. They captured the Afghan capital, Kabul, a year later, and they overthrew the regime of the president. And by 1998, the Taliban were in control of almost 90% of Afghanistan.
Whoa. So they kind of almost have total control.
Definitely. They definitely dominate the lives of people there.
They're kind of like the leading political force, I would say, in the country.
Definitely. And many Afghans were like in support of it at the time because they kind of, with like them taking over and like overthrowing the president, they like sort of eliminated the corruption that was happening in that government. But with that, as time went on, they started doing something called the Sharia law, which is like they had an interpretation of it, and it's part of Islam. And it introduced punishments such as public executions of even something like thefts, like amputations for those found guilty of theft. Men were required to grow beards, and women had to wear the all-covering burqa. They banned television, music, and cinema, and they strongly disapproved of girls going to school after the age of 10.
So they were restrictive.
Yes, and that's why we'll talk about this, but Malala Yousafzai, she was fighting for the girls' rights to education, and she got shot.
But she survived.
She survived,
which is really good.
She got shot in the head by a Taliban because she spoke out about girls' education. And we'll make an episode on like how that all started.
Yeah, I think we should make an episode just about either the Taliban or just Malala's story and like kind of
both.
both of them in one episode.
Yeah, but so, and they also had a lot of cultural like attacks. Like one of the examples that I haven't written it down, but I've heard of it. It's like they kind of eliminated a bunch of Buddha statues, which is like part of Buddhism, which is a major religion. And they saw this as a problem because women and especially were so restricted. Families, children, it was just awful. And they became like terrorists. And they did the 9/11 attack, which so many people died.
So it was such a violent act.
They just took over airplanes and just crashed it into New York towers.
And a lot of people have trauma from that too. Like it's people remember it.
And it's definitely sad.
It is.
And I'll probably also make an episode about 9/11.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
But so. As of now, the Taliban have seized around 200 of Afghan's 400-odd districts.
So that's half of them,
Yeah, and they have been paddling deep into the country's north, despite the north being like
having a more strong foothold against the Taliban.
Okay.
Hundreds have been killed and wounded. Many more have been displaced. Tens of thousands of them have been caught in the combat zones, like they're in the struggle to survive. And they've been waging fierce battles for months across Afghanistan. They just capturing district after district. They're dominating.
Yeah.
And it is devastating for so many people.
It is. And I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of Afghan interpreters are actually getting U.S. visas to come to the U.S.
Yeah,
It's a lot
we talked
safer.
about it in our last news update.
We
too,
did,
So if
yeah.
you want to hear about that,
So check it out. So wow.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so sad for Afghanistan. You know.
Yeah.
It's just they're being overtaken by this terrorist group. So
Yeah. And especially the U.S. had after, like I said, after 9/11, they got placed there for 20 years almost.
yeah,
But
a really long time.
they helped so much with like keeping the Taliban back, and now that they're all leaving, Biden's withdrawing them because he thinks it's just pointless.
And Osama bin Laden, who was like the head of Al Qaeda, he founded it. He was killed too.
I mean, that's not what I was talking about. But
Yeah, but
that's true. He
It was a
died.
long
He died.
time.
I think he died in like 2009, but he died. And they were withdrawing troops, and this is kind of like a lot of people are very concerned. But the U.S. still continues to help through airstrikes. But even with the airstrikes, they can't help. They don't have enough resources to defend against Afghan cities. And
I think
it's actually the airstrikes are going to end this month unless the Pentagon gets permission to continue.
Oh.
So
interesting. Are they ending this month? I think I heard that they were gonna continue the airstrikes until all the troops were withdrawn. So like when the troops were withdrawn, they would stop the airstrikes.
I'm pretty sure that's true, unless
Yeah.
if the Pentagon
read
gets
that
extra
somewhere.
if the
Permission.
Pentagon gets extra permission, then they can continue them. But it's
Okay.
kind of long shot.
I mean, yeah, we'll see.
We'll see.
Wow, that's
It was a
heavy
long
topic.
One, sorry.
Yeah, you're good. All right. So is that everything for
I
that
think
one?
so.
All right.
On to you.
So Mexico sues gun companies in the U.S. So the Mexican government has sued U.S. gun manufacturers, including like Glock, Barrett, Smith & Wesson, a lot of really popular gun manufacturers, and they're taking this to the U.S. federal court. So the reason why is because the Mexican government said that the negligent and illegal commercial practices coming from the U.S. have caused bloodshed in Mexico. So let me give some background. So there are these things in Mexico called drug cartels, which basically they illegally distribute drugs, and so many drug cartels are extremely violent. Like, if they're provided with illegal guns, then they will use them.
I listened to a podcast about this lady.
Yeah.
I told you about it, right? Remember that lady whose daughter got kidnapped? And
Oh,
she went
yeah, that was
full-
so sad.
She
And-
was a bad.
Yeah. And I watched a show, it's called Mosquito Coast. By the way, it's really good. But there was a drug cartel, and if you disagree with the drug cartel, if you don't do what they tell you to do, if you do something wrong, they're going to shoot you, basically. They're not going to be... So many people have died due to this, because 70%, a statistic showed that 70% of illegal guns in Mexico come from the U.S. And a lot of them are targeted to Mexican cartels.
Yeah, which is why a lot of people want to restrict immigration from Mexico.
Yeah, but there is one viewpoint, like, so many illegal drugs come into the U.S. from Mexico, so why is Mexico suing us for the illegal guns going into Mexico from the U.S.?
Yeah.
You know, because there are a lot of illegal drugs that come from Mexico to the U.S. So that is one viewpoint on it. And there was a huge thing that happened. It's a big part of the lawsuit. Hitmen from a drug cartel shot two police officers and a civilian and wounded the police chief. And they were carrying 3 Barrett sniper rifles, a Smith & Wesson pistol, a Ruger caliber rifle, and some other guns that come illegally from the U.S. So Mexico is basically, like, thousands of murders have taken place. The murder rates are reaching, like, historic levels, and there are around 35,000 homicides a year in Mexico, which
That's
is
insane.
a lot. And basically they're saying, like, you are allowing this to happen, you are allowing this illegal activity, this illegal flow of guns to our country, and you're letting it go into the hands of individuals who shouldn't have them, like drug cartels. So, yeah, they're suing
That's
the US.
crazy.
So, we'll see.
Alright, we'll see what happens.
Alright, and
CDC moratorium. This has been all over the
Yes,
news. I've seen
it
it
has.
everywhere.
And I actually discussed this like in the last episode.
Yeah,
So
you
just
did.
to brief again, eviction moratorium is basically so tenants cannot evict. Landlords cannot evict tenants.
What is evict? Like, what is being
So
evicted?
evicting is being kicked out of like an apartment because you can't pay the rent.
Alright.
So if you don't, and a lot of people are financially struggling during the pandemic, so something was put down in September 2020, an eviction moratorium, and although Congress did fail to extend it, the CDC has announced that renters in areas with high COVID-19 rates will have until October 3rd. So there's an
Okay.
eviction moratorium, but it's different than the last one because it's more targeted at communities that have high transmission rates and high COVID rates, whereas the other one was kind of like everyone.
Alright.
So, and the CDC has the power to do this due to the Public Service Act of 1944, which basically gives them the power to respond to public health emergencies. And this is their way of responding, and they hope this will help a lot of people, because if people get evicted, then they'll be either live with other people or live in groups or go to shelters, which the more people pack together, the higher rates of COVID. Exactly. Exactly. So, the CDC put that out to protect people, but it's only till October 3rd, though. So.
Alright. So,
Alright.
next topic.
Next thing.
Infrastructure bill. We've talked about this so freaking much.
We do every episode, I feel like.
I think around 4 or 5 episodes we've talked about it. And if you don't know what it is, you can Google it because I don't want to explain it again. But or look at our previous
It's an
episodes.
infrastructure bill, traditional infrastructure, roads, highways, buildings, or train.
Yeah,
stuff.
and there's two parts
I don't
to
know.
it: the humanities and like the traditional. Traditional is like roadways and stuff. Humanities is like healthcare
Yeah,
and stuff.
exactly.
So humanities is more human based, and then traditional is more.
So, what's happening with this?
So, the Senate, watch our previous videos if you haven't, but basically they agreed on like the traditional infrastructure already, but they're working on the humanities part of it. And there's good news that the Senate is progressing with the the humanities part of it. And that's
Okay.
a weird looking bug.
Oh, is that a wasp?
I have no idea.
I have a window well, like right out there. So like,
Yeah,
there's
we're
not a
filming-
wasp in the
We're
house.
filming
Don't
in
worry.
her house right there.
Yeah.
Anyway. So basically they're advancing the humanities, and it's been a real struggle because they have such differing opinions on this. We'll talk
Yeah,
about some of
yeah.
it in like our episode about Republicans and Democrats. But it progressed, and it was one of Joe Biden's top priorities. So they had a vote. It was 67 to 27, which demonstrated broad support. It's really good. It
Good.
kind of
Wow.
it shows that we are reaching some bipartisan agreement.
Yeah.
But there's a couple Republicans that are still very hesitant, such as Representative Bill Haggerty, who's a Republican. He took to the Senate floor to underscore his opposition to the expediting process, and he said that he cannot participate in doing it this way while he believes in hard infrastructure. It was a common thing amongst many people, but Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, who's a Democrat, he vowed to keep the Senate open until the lawmakers vote on whether to adopt the bill. And so, he's a Democrat, he wants this bill to be passed, as do most Democrats. They really want it done. And with the consent of all 100 senators, the chamber could move through like through amendments to like the passage later. But without like the agreement, it could take as long as Tuesday next week. So they're trying to get this done. Their recess is, I think it was already supposed to happen, but it like didn't.
Yeah, I think they extended it to like a week later than it usually is.
Yeah. But if they pass it, it would be a major victory for Chuck Schumer, Joe Biden, and like a bipartisan group of senators who have spent months creating this package. And they would send this to the U.S. House of Representatives, where it would most likely be passed because we have a lot of Democrats in that house. And basically, in this vote, it's, Biden said in regards to this, he said, "It's once in a generation investment in our nation's infrastructure. We can't afford not to do it."
Alright.
Whereas Republicans say that it's going to put us in debt and it's not good for all of our citizens, but we'll see how that goes. We hope they come to a conclusion and pass it eventually.
Bipartisan, hopefully, if that's possible. Alright, so next news update is that a black realtor was showing a home to a black father and son and were handcuffed by Michigan police.
Oh, wow.
So when I read this, I was like, is this a joke? Like, did this happen? I was so confused.
I would be too.
So there's a black realtor, and he was showing a house to a black man and his 15-year-old son in a suburban neighborhood in Michigan. Like, they're innocently touring the house that is for sale, right? And then police officers started surrounding the property with guns drawn.
Why?
Okay, let me explain. So the realtor, his name was Eric Brown, by the way. He was showing the clients, the father was Roy Thorne, by the way, the house in the city of Wyoming. So this was in the state of Michigan, but there's a city called Wyoming in Michigan, which is really confusing.
You know, Kansas City is in Missouri.
So weird.
I don't know.
So when I say Wyoming, I mean Wyoming, the city in Michigan.
Okay.
Just to clarify. So a neighbor saw the people entering the house and reported a break-in because this house was previously broken into by someone else at a previous time, apparently. So he thought the people were returning. But the thing about this, there were as many as 40 showings of this house without incident. Like, no one suspected a break-in with these other 40 showings, but because these people were black, the neighbors called the police and reported a break-in. So, and Thorne and Brown both say this never would have happened if they were white, which I think is definitely true. And so Thorne told his son and Brown to get down and stay away from the windows, and then they put their hands up, and basically what happened, they were handcuffed and put in police vehicles, and they were only released because the real estate agent Brown showed his certifications and talked about the situation and explained it. But just the fact that there were so many showings before and no one called the police about a break-in, but just because they were black, they called it.
So let me get this right: a verified realtor and two people looking for a house
that was on sale.
Yeah. They were all black. There's been previous showings, and they got called on because they were in the house doing the showing just because they were black.
Exactly. And Brown said, quote, "I don't get how," or actually no, Thorne said, quote, "I
That's
don't
the
get."
father, right?
Yeah, that's the father.
Okay.
"I don't get how we were treated as a threat when we're clearly not one. And if we were white, that wouldn't have happened." So the Wyoming Police Department released a statement basically saying, kind of explaining the situation. But Brown, in response, Brown was the real estate agent, by the way, he said, "Why didn't the police run his license plate? Why didn't the officers announce themselves? Why didn't they just ring the doorbell? I'm just really confused," and it's super, super stressful.
I can imagine.
And he said, "If you see a crime, report a crime. But if you see us just living life the same way you do, just let us do that." And I agree. They were innocently touring the house.
That's crazy.
They never should have been handcuffed.
Stupid people.
I know. Stupid. Alright, after that, another kind of, okay. So a Chicago police officer was killed and another was seriously injured. So at around 9 p.m., officers with the Chicago's Community Safety Teams unit pulled over a vehicle near West 63rd Street. And during the encounter, when they pulled over the vehicle, the officers were shot. So the officers returned fire and struck a male suspect. Two others who were inside the car were apprehended and are in custody, being apprehended. But one officer, Chicago police officer, actually died, which is so sad. Her name hasn't been released, but she was 29 years old and she was female, and she died, which is so, she had such bravery, because I think, yeah. And then the male officer was injured, and he's currently fighting for his life. This is as of early Sunday morning. So, the wounded officers were taken to Chicago Medical Center, and the offender who was shot is in stable condition and taken to Christ Hospital. So
the offender did?
He shot them.
No, why were they pulling him over in the first place?
Oh, I'm not sure. But they didn't release a lot about this. I actually checked news sites last night about it, and there was nothing about it besides a few sentences. So a lot of this, it happened, I think, a day ago, so a lot of this is still unknown. But CPD First Deputy Superintendent Eric Carter said, quote, "This is just another example of how the Chicago Police Department and these officers put their lives above that of others to protect the city in and day out selflessly. They go out here and do their jobs thanklessly. They do it without asking for anything. They do it because they love it. They do it because it's something a higher calling for, and they do it because it's the right thing to do." So they are brave, but there's so many. Actually, the officer who died was the 5th female Chicago police officer to die in the line of duty, and the first woman Chicago police officer to die in the line of duty in 21 years. So this also marks the 27th time a Chicago police officer has been shot this year.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, there have been so
That's
many.
27 lives lost just because they're
Well,
doing their
not all the
job.
people who were shot actually
Oh,
died,
sorry.
but they were
27
shot
people
or
shot.
wounded at least. Yeah.
Okay, so I'd
Mhm.
say, how many people do you think would have died? Like, say 7?
Yeah, I would say, yeah, I mean, she was the 5th female Chicago police officer to die in the line of duty, so
And there's probably a couple male ones.
there's definitely some male ones.
So
yeah.
I'd say like 10 people
At
lost their
least.
lives just from doing their job, minimum.
Yeah, exactly.
In Chicago.
And this is so crazy. Like, Lori Lightfoot, who's the mayor, said it's a very sad day, not just for the Chicago Police Department, but it is a very sad and tragic day for our city. And
So-
I agree. So, I'm sorry for those families. Like, that must be so hard.
Yes.
They are brave people.
Alright.
Alright, I think that's everything.
That
Do you
wraps
have
it up.
any, like, fun, interesting news?
I'm getting a haircut for the first time in like
Really?
2 years on Sunday.
That is fun.
Next Sunday, not this
That is fun. Okay, I do
I'm
have.
so excited because I want a haircut so bad.
How
I just
many
couldn't get it
inches
because
are
of
you
Corona.
doing? How many inches?
Okay, I think I'm gonna keep it this long, but I'm gonna do
Mhm.
like face frame and lips.
I think that's gonna look good.
I hope so.
Your hair is pretty.
I'm gonna. It's like the day before school, though, so if they
Oh,
screw it up, then I'm
so if they
screwed.
screwed up, you're screwed. But
Uh-huh.
hopefully that'll go well. So mine, it's not really funny or anything, but it's like light was detected behind a black hole for the first time.
That's pretty
And
cool.
it's like, it's cool, yeah. Scientists have been able to see light. So like a black hole is like basically a space where the pull of gravity is so strong that even light can't get out. So it's like, a lot of people thought you wouldn't be able to see light from behind it, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know,
Yeah, because the hole, you think it like goes both ways.
I was gonna make this a whole news update, but it's so sciencey and hard to understand that I'm just like, let's just make this a quick one at the end so I don't have to explain everything. So, alright.
All of our sources will be
Mhm.
linked in the
Linked.
bio.
Mhm.
We're not geniuses. We looked at news things, big whoop. We
Mhm.
needed to do research for all of our topics.
Mhm.
All of our social medias in case you want to
Mhm.
recommend anything to us
Right.
or you want to follow us, and please do because we post a lot of
Yes.
information.
Check out our website. I say that every time.
Our website is so good. I'm so proud of
Oh, yeah.
it. It's top notch.
Chef's kiss.
Alright, well, sorry if this one was long, but
It
I
was
hope you-
interesting.
yeah, I hope you learned something.
Bye.
Bye.